Okay, like I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but my TBR has gone off the rails. It wasn't until I was holding it up for the thumbnail that I was like, whoa, whoa. What are you doing? Hi, my name is Sarah Freshley and welcome back to Freshly Read Books. I actually have already fully filmed this TBR, but it changed so much after I filmed that I was like, hello, hi. That I was like, oh, I need to entirely redo this. Like over half the books had changed from what I was thinking I was going to be reading. And so it felt wrong to put out the original one knowing that. And I didn't realize until I sat down here to film it that like because of this, because I like set my TBR and then realized I needed to change my TBR, I have a lot of big books, like a lot of big books. I don't know what I've done. Also, I feel like it's been a long time since I've used a lav mic and I might just hold it because I feel like there's no way I'm getting good audio. Like I feel like I can't trust it. Okay, so to be super candidly honest with you, I do have like the barest like little inklings of a reading slump. I think I actually might have successfully moved past it just by being more chill with myself about my reading. Being like, it's okay if you only read like 20 pages today. Like, that's fine. But I am still, that is a concern. And that was a concern when I was originally picking my TBR, which is why I tried to pick books I was just genuinely super excited about and like excited about reading next, not just like vaguely excited about, but like these are things I'm currently like actively in the mood for. So that did end up changing a little bit, but like we'll start with one of those. So the first one there is My Friends by Frederick Bachman. This is actually coming out in May, on May 20th, I believe. Actually, it says, yes, May 20th. Also, thank you to Atria Books for sending me this. This is like a dream come true to get like a physical Frederick Bachman arc in the mail is crazy to me. So I have read every Frederick Bachman book. I have like a whole video series on him on my channel. And it's fair to say that I really enjoy his books. I think his writing style is not for everyone, but the people that like it likely love it, if that makes sense. There's very few books that I've not really liked, and I just find them so readable, so quotable, so fun, even though they do oftentimes bring in some like darker topics. So this is about Louisa, who sees this, she's an artist, she sees this painting, and in the painting there are like 3 figures in the background. And that is like the quote friends, I'm assuming, in the title. And she just like wants to learn more about them. And so I think based off of what the synopsis, how it's written, I think that the book is going to be like half Louisa trying to like going on this kind of journey, either digitally or physically, I'm not sure, to try to figure out the history of this group of people that's in this painting because she's really drawn to them. And then also getting the actual story of the 3 friends. That's my thought, and I'm excited about it. I thought that this was going to be the first book that I read this month. It's not, because I ended up in a buddy read for a different book. Let's talk about that one now. It's Hamnit by Maggie O'Farrell. So my friend and I, we realized that like our book club, we're not always picking the books that we were actually like super excited about. And those books tended to be the same books between each other. One of those is Hamnit. We talked about doing The Poisonwood Bible, Martyr. So I now own all of those books. And I was basically like, hey, when you start reading one, just let me know and I'll figure it out. And then later I was like, wait, why the hell did I say that? Because I generally, like, I really like my reading plans. I don't know. I guess I'm like learning this about myself, but I really love for like all of a book thinking about what the next book I read and then possibly the book after that I'm going to read is going to be. But I'm hoping this will make me more flexible. So I'm still going with it. And I did start Hamnet last night. So as much as I know about this one is it's about like William Shakespeare's son, Hamnet. So he has 3 children. I don't know how accurate this is like historically. Maggie O'Farrell likes to kind of take these like legends. They're not like myths on like the mythic scale, but just like things that like stories that have been maybe like passed down that people like believing, but maybe isn't really the truth. So I read The Marriage Portrait by her and I loved it. So this is about the Shakespeare family, although I don't think Shakespeare is ever going to be actively named in this, but he has 3 children, a daughter, and then a set of twins, a boy and a girl. And the boy of the twins is Hamnet. And Shakespeare ends up writing Hamlet named after Hamnet because I guess that's really like the same name. I don't know. It kind of gives us like at the very beginning, there's just one page that's quickly like giving us the history. Again, don't know how accurate of what happened and like what we're kind of spinning off of. And it sounds like Hamnit's twin sister like falls ill really suddenly with like a fever and everything. And then he's like trying to run and get help, but nobody's at home. Then 2 weeks later, Hamnit dies. And so the story itself is like that little period of time. So his sister falling ill and then what happens to Hamnit. So I'm excited about this one. It's been a while now since I read The Marriage Portrait. My friend finished this in 2 days before I was able to finish the 2 books I was already in the middle of. Because again, I'm being very kind to myself and being okay with the amount that I'm reading, because I don't want to wind up in a reading slump and be like worse than I already am. Like I'm still enjoying reading, but I can feel it. I can feel it like brewing under the surface. I think that Hamnit is going to be a good book for that. It's relatively short, especially compared to literally all the other books on my TBR this month. So I think it'll be good. So after Hamnit, the 2 books that I'm most excited for, like I said, is My Friends and The Will of the Many by James Islington. Islington? Not sure. This has been making the rounds. Everybody loves this and I want to love it. I was in the bookstore like a month ago and I completely impulse purchased this. I had no plans on picking it up. It is an expensive hardcover book, but here I am.
Yeah, I ended up getting The Will of the Many. Just, I don't know. I can't explain it.
This is about, what is his name? It's like Vis or Vice. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's VIS. He's our main character. He's going to this academy, but he's going like undercover and like trying to infiltrate them in some way. So he has to like rise among the ranks in the academy. He's like going to this academy under a different persona and trying to find this ancient weapon and like uncover these like secrets and everything. And I think maybe the people that run the academy are responsible for something that happened to like his family that maybe used to be on top. That's the feeling I'm getting from the synopsis. But I'm super excited about reading this one, even though it is a lengthy boy. So I have a feeling that it'll be one of the earlier ones that I read this month, that and My Friends by Frederick Bachman. Okay, another one. I actually haven't looked up how long this is. I just assume that it's as long as The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is a lengthier book. But I don't actually know that, because I have this book as an e-arc from NetGalley, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, which is coming out in June, I think. So I just finished the Darker Shades trilogy by V.E. Schwab, and I am obsessed. I was going to say was obsessed. Incorrect. I am still currently obsessed. It might be playing into this whole feeling like slightly reading slumpy, because last month I read the 2nd and 3rd book in the trilogy back to back, and I was just loving it so much. And it did make it hard to be like excited about reading other books. Okay, maybe that's actually what happened. I think I'm in a book hangover. I'm not in a book slump. I'm in a book hangover. But I'll talk about how great those books are in a wrap-up video. I am excited about reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, because it does seem like slightly more literary fiction-esque, which I feel like is kind of also the area that Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is in. It's about 3 women in like different time periods and in different places, but they're all connected, I think, because their bodies end up being buried in the same soil, hence the name of the title. Oh, and then each of them have like a different word in the synopsis that explains their story. So one is hunger, one is love, and one is rage. And that, I don't know, that sounds fun. Now let's talk about, I'm not ready to talk about the one I was going to talk about next. So let's talk about the other of the shortest books on my list. And that is Chain Gang Allstars, which I actually, if you've been here for a while, you might remember that I did start this book. So I actually got nearly halfway through this book a while back, but I was listening to it on audiobook. And I think that is just not the way to do this book. It's a good audiobook, like the narrator did a good job, but like, this book is very uniquely told. There are lots of perspectives. The chapters are super short. There's a lot of dialogue. And I just feel like it would lend itself better to physically reading it than it would as an audiobook, or at least for me. There's also footnotes in it, not as much as like, not as serious as some other books like House of Leaves or the one I'm going to talk about next. Spoiler alert, it's in the thumbnail. You already know. But I want to restart this and physically read it. I think that that's just going to be a lot better experience for me. And there is a brewery. It's like a book themed brewery. It's called Fiction Brewing here in Denver. And it's kind of far from where I live, but I've really been wanting to check it out. And then I found out that they have a book club and this is their May book. So I figure this is a good push to both get me to restart this and read it, and also to get me to finally go to that brewery. It's like takes place in this prison system where the inmates have the choice of participating in this big like competition where they literally have to like battle to the death. So it's a little bit like dystopian. No, I mean, it's dystopian. But it's meant to say like a lot about our current prison system. Okay, fine. We'll talk about it. I'm starting Infinite Jest in May. So here's the deal. I was in a live stream a week ago. I was talking about how great it is that I do the live streams for TBR Spin. Since I start the books right away, and since I chose for my TBR Spin books almost completely, 11 out of the 12 of them were books that have been on my TBR for a really long time. They're like the oldest books to my TBR. That I just haven't gotten around to yet. I was talking about in the live stream how great it is knowing that like I'm just going to start whatever the book is, because it actually gives me the motivation to read it, to start it. And then usually once I start it, I'm like having a great time. So I was like, maybe I should do that for like the other books that I'm really struggling with starting, but that I know that I want to read soon. And then that brought me to Infinite Jest, which is in fact on my 25 books to read in 2025 list. So I told myself that I would either read this or unhaul it by the end of the year. So I loosely ran the idea during the live stream, and then more firmly ran it by my Instagram in a poll asking if I should read the entirety of Infinite Jest just in live streams, like just in reading sprints. And the overwhelming majority said, yes, you should do that. And so I am. That's what I'm doing. Following day, if you're watching this the day that it comes out, is going to be when the reading sprints are. But anyways, Infinite Jest. I did recently watch a video, which thank you Amelia for suggesting this. She had recommended a video to me from a creator that I hadn't watched before, but has like quite the following. So I will also link her channel. And her last wrap-up video, she talked about reading Infinite Jest for quite some time. And I watched that, and I do think that is a great like thing to watch before getting into Infinite Jest and before making the decision whether or not you actually want to read Infinite Jest. Because at this point it's getting up there in age, and I wouldn't quite call it a classic, even though I do think it was very influential in literature as a whole. And I do know that there are many people that like hold this book as being just like incredible, absolutely amazing. And a lot of people don't. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the people that don't are women. And I believe women. So I have a feeling that this does speak to a very specific person the most, but I do still really want to read it and have that background. Anyways, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to start it this month. And it takes place partially in like an attic. It says halfway house. I don't think that is the right term anymore, but I don't know what the right term is. And then also in this elite tennis academy, which is great because I don't know if you know this, but you are talking to the MVP of my high school's tennis team. I know, very cool. And then it's also supposed to be, what is the thing that it said? It was like equal parts philosophical quest and screwball comedy, which is also great because I don't know if you know this, but you are talking to a former member of my high school's philosophy team. Okay, I'll stop. I'm just trying to come up with ways that like I will be able to connect with this book in some capacity. Fingers crossed. Oh, something that also helps is I read Brief Interviews with Hideous Men by David Foster Wallace, which is a collection of short stories, and I loved it. It's one of my favorites. It remains on my bookshelf to this day, so I'm hoping that helps. But yeah, this is happening. And speaking of short story collections, I also have another short story collection that I'm very excited about that I just got from the library yesterday, which is Table for Two by Amor Towles. So I've read all 3 of Amor Towles' novels so far that he's written, and I've loved them. 2 of them I like love. In fact, both of them, so Rules of Civility, as well as A Gentleman in Moscow, appear on my favorite books mug. I don't even have anything in this. When I first filmed this video, I did have coffee in this, and it was like, oh, this is perfect. But this time there's literally nothing in it. It feels a little silly. But yeah, Gentleman in Moscow, Rules of Civility are favorite books of all time for me. I absolutely love them. And then I just read The Lincoln Highway. Actually, that was my very first TBR Spin pick for January, and I really liked that one as well. It wasn't a 5-star read, but it was a very high 4-star read. And I'm excited for Table for Two. Also, one of the short stories in here, which is really like a novella, is Even Hollywood, which is based off of one of the characters from Rules of Civility. Actually, I was trying to get my hands on a copy of this. I think my Florida book club has like one copy of this floating around, but like it was so hard for us to find. I even emailed Amor Tolls. You know how you can like email authors? I almost never do it. I emailed him. Basically, they were saying like, oh, they're not in print anymore, so you have to find like a used copy. And I thought that that was interesting until like 2-3 years later, this comes out and it has Even Hollywood in it. And I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like they wanted to publish it as more of a collection. The last book that I'm planning on reading this month, which I entirely forgot when I first filmed this, that I was supposed to read this month, is Wolfsong by TJ Klune, which is the first book in, what is the name of the series? The Green Creek series. I got this back in like June, I think, of last year. I was very excited about reading it, and then it kind of just like sat there for a little bit. But I do think that a large part of that was because I was actively working on other series, and I feel like now that I've finished the Darker Shades trilogy and also the entire Expanse series, which is huge, I'm ready to like be able to start other series with the plan that I really focus on the new series that I pick up. So I've got Wolfsong. I also have Ravensong, the second book in the series, which I try not to do anymore, but I found it at a used bookstore and like I couldn't help myself. It's also crazy because I've only read one TJ Klune book and I didn't really like it. That was The House on the Cerulean Sea. It just wasn't really for me. I had a decent time reading it. I wasn't like bored, but it wasn't for me, you know? So bold of me to buy 2 books in another series that they wrote, but like, here we are. But also I'm a part of a new book club that my friends and I started where we read queer books. And this is our pick. It's about this young boy, Oxnard? Ox. He goes by Ox, who has a pretty abusive upbringing, it seems. And then at 16, there's a family that moves in next door, and they are shapeshifters. So like they can turn into wolves, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it says literally the Bennets are shapeshifters. They can transform into wolves at will. I should trust myself more. But yeah, like they he becomes friends with the youngest of that family. And then I think maybe more than friends. I'm just telling myself that I'm going to like it. I'm having a hard time though, because I've now had like a few friends that have not super liked it. But I've also had some friends that have. No, I'm going into this optimistically. Anyways, that is everything that I am reading in May. Hopefully, as a reminder, the way that I do TBRs on my channel, or the way that I do monthly TBRs on my channel anyways, is that I pick 8 books roughly. I picked exactly 8 this month. Very proud of myself. Although I did pick very long books. But my only like true goal for myself as far as the monthly TBR goes is to read 5 of those books. So I don't typically aim to read my full monthly TBR just because I like to leave room open to like kind of a new book to come in and be like, oh, now I want to read that. That's not to say that I never finish my monthly TBR, because in March I nailed it. So if you want to see that, I have this video here. I mean, now I feel like I spoiled it, that you know that I did finish my TBR, but still could be fun. And besides that, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified for every live stream that I do, and you can watch me slowly read through Infinite Jest for the rest of the year while you read whatever book you want. And then also just for the other videos I post, those are fun too. Like this one. This was fun, right? But other than that, if you could like the video, if you liked it, that really helps out. Let me know what books you are excited about reading in May so that I can add it to my never-ending TBR. Okay, bye.